Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Discriminating Gamer. Say, what's the difference between George Washington and a duck? One has a bill on his face, the other has his face on a bill. Ladies and gentlemen, today we're going to go ahead and take a look at Liberty or Death, the American Insurrection from GMT Games. Liberty or Death, the American Insurrection from GMT Games is a coin game for 1 to 4 players. Players take on the factions such as the American Patriots, the Native Americans, the British, and the French. All right, ladies and gentlemen, this game has been out for a decade now. I think it came out in 2016. I'm not going to get into the rules here. I'm just going to tell you the very, very basics, and I'll tell you what I think. As I mentioned, you've got these 4 different factions. You've got the Americans, the British, the Native Americans, and the French. And what you're doing over the course of the game is, like any standard coin game, you have the deck of cards. Seated in this deck of cards, you have winter quarters cards. These are kind of like your scoring cards in other coin games. And what's going to happen is, as soon as a card comes out, you're also going to reveal the next card so everybody can see the next event that will trigger. But you look at the current card, and the flags on the top tell you the order of people to go. Now, you can, of course, select to play the event, or you can do a limited action, or you could do an action with also a special activity that you can do, or you can pass and gain resources. So whatever track the first player chooses, the next player to go is going to have to choose something on that track. They won't have a choice. They'll just be able to take that track or pass. So it's very similar to other coin games that we're familiar with. Now on the board you have different units. The British, they've got red regulars and green Tories. The American Patriots, they have militia, but they can go underground, but they also have their Continental Regulars. You've got, of course, the Native Americans. They have got their war parties, and then the French can bring in troops as well. They've also got ships that are heading toward the West Indies or can blockade American ports throughout the game. But what you're doing here is you actually can move your units and fight battles. You can actually conduct battles. There's a battle engine system. Depending on what units you're bringing to it, it's going to determine how many dice you get. And you're going to roll the dice, and you're going to figure out any modifiers to give you your final. Whoever has more units left over, they win the game. And then you also determine how many units go to the casualties box. And this is going to be important because you're going to track casualties, and that's going to be important for some victory conditions. You're also going to be looking at resources that you're bringing up. And you're also going to be looking at the total support for the crown or opposition to it. Each of the cities and colonies, they have spaces for control. So if a military unit is in there, they have control, or whoever has the greater military has control. But then also, too, you want the support of the people. And this can go from active opposition to passive opposition to neutral to passive support and active support. And kind of where they are on that spectrum is going to be very important for how a lot of the cards and the actions are going to play. Now, on a player's turn, if they do a limited action, they've got a number of different kinds of actions that they can do, and then they may be able to also do a special activity. Usually these things are going to cost them resources, but they allow them to do all sorts of funky things across the board. Now, the victory conditions are different. The Patriots, they're trying to get, of course, more support on their side, but they are trying to put down forts on the board. The Indians are trying to build up villages on the board. You have, of course, the French are also trying to inflict casualties on the British. The British are trying to inflict casualties on the Patriots. And basically, the various victory conditions are very much keyed to what each side wanted historically in the American Revolution. The players go around and around. They are looking at the cards. They are engaging in the event, or they are doing limited actions and special activities. They are moving their units across the board. They're trying to build forts or villages. They are conducting battles, and they are trying to defeat their enemy and inflict higher casualty rates. And whichever side is able to meet their specific victory conditions wins. Liberty or death, the American Insurrection.
We'll get back to the review in just a moment. I want to take a minute to ask you to check out my other channel, that is Cody Carlson, PhD, where we talk about history, books on history, military history. I even post some of my lectures for my classes on there. Please check that out. Please subscribe to that channel. And now, back to the review.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, I didn't even want to tackle a real serious rules overview here because there's so much. It's like any coin game. There's a ton going on here. There is a massive amount of stuff going on in this game. And that's not a bad thing. Now, for years, I was very intimidated by coin games, and everybody told me how fun they were, and I shied away. I was always a little terrified to take them on because they just seemed like it'd be too much for me. But then GMT started introducing kind of some of these smaller coin games, like A Jest of Robin Hood and The British Way, and that kind of eased me into learning coin. And since then, we played Vijayanagara, which is kind of coin adjacent, and then we played Cuba Libre. And I like Vijayanagara, and I loved The Guest of Robin Hood, and I liked The British Way, but I fell in love with Cuba Libre. I thought that was such a fun game. I thought that was tremendous fun. And I was looking forward to playing some more coin games, and I reached out to the good people at GMT, and they sent me a while back this copy of Liberty or Death, and I've been excited to get this to the table. And this is a game that we've been trying to get to the table a few times, and plans would always fall through or something else had come up. And so we never got it to the table. And I was always really bummed because I was excited to play it. And I was also excited, too, because Al has actually already played this game solo a few times. So he kind of knew a lot of the basics of the game. And so we get the game out, and immediately the basics of the coin system, they're there. You play the basics, and the work was kind of finding out some of the intricacies and the nuances of this version of the game. And I'll tell you right now, full disclosure, I've just played this game the one time, and during the game we played, I lost miserably. I was the American Patriots, and I got clobbered. I think the Native Americans won. The British were there as well. So the French and the American Patriots, we were. Ugh. And that brings up a good point. You got to work with your partner. Now, there's only one winner, but you've got to work with, the Patriots have got to work with the French. The Indians have got to work with the British. You've just got to do that. And I really like that aspect. There can only be one winner, but you've got to work together with your partner here. And you're kind of fighting for a long time. It's kind of a team game until it isn't. And I like that aspect of the game quite a bit. But I like here, too, first of all, I love the history and I love the theme of this game. It's one of my favorite areas to study. I haven't studied the American Revolution nearly as much as I've studied World War II and some other areas. I actually probably have read more books on the French Revolution than the American Revolution. But I'm fascinated with the American Revolution. I think it's just a really exciting time in history. And this game does such a good job of, as I say, crafting the objectives of each of the belligerents toward their goals. And it was so much fun, trying to make sure you got enough resources, but at the same time trying to figure out what actions you can do and how you can make things work. And again, I'm just talking about this from the perspective of the Patriots, but everybody got a kick out of it. Everybody had a lot of fun with this game. Now, I will say, like some coin games, like we reviewed Red Dust Rebellion a while back, and I liked that game, but I felt it was a little too long, a little too heavy for me. And Liberty or Death, I feel like it is a longer game, but I didn't feel like it was too heavy. I didn't feel like there were so many little intricacies that tripped us up here, like tripped us up in Red Dust Rebellion. Now, this game isn't as straightforward as, say, Cuba Libre. This game brings its own challenges and nuances to the table. But I really, really enjoyed it. In fact, like I said, I got clobbered. I got clobbered in this game. And it's a fun game when you lose and lose badly, and you still have fun. Even as you're losing, you're still enjoying it. Right up to the end, I was still having a blast with this game. It's really a lot of fun. I should say we didn't play through the whole game. I did concede fairly early, along with Ray, because we could see where it was going. But we were nearly done. We were at it, I think, well over 3 hours, and it is just fantastic. I really, really enjoyed Liberty or Death. I'm looking forward to playing some more of the coin games, but maybe I just want to concentrate on this one a little bit because, man alive, it put a smile on my face, and I'm excited to implement more strategies now that I know the game a little bit better. But on the Cody scale, I'm going to say Liberty or Death. I'm going to give this a 9 on the Cody scale. It is excellent. Thank you once again for joining us today on The Discriminating Gamer. As always, we'd ask you to please leave a comment for us here on YouTube, on Board Game Geek, on our Facebook page, on Twitter. We'd ask you to like and subscribe to all of these. It's very important that you like and subscribe to this channel. That means a lot to us. And if you like what we do here, please check out my other channel, that is Cody Carlson, PhD, where we talk about history, military history, books on history. I even post some of my lectures on that channel. Please subscribe to that. It would mean the world to me. And if you do really like what we do on this channel, I would humbly ask you to click on the Super Thanks button and leave a tip. How come there are no knock-knock jokes about America? Because freedom rings. Please somebody help me on my feet again. And I don't know where I'm going, and I don't know where I've been. Please somebody help me on the solid ground. It's a long time, and I'll be dying. Once a year I wind up in the band. God knows that I love to fight.
And out the left arc, still a 2 to 6.
Yes!
A little scout.
Yes!